Well, the thing I learned from great artists in the process, in my process of working with them, is being honest about your art, being vulnerable. When artists write songs, it comes from a very vulnerable place. At least the good ones do. They know how to take a feeling that other people would be insecure to talk about, and they know how to write it and say it and express themselves. And that's what we all gravitate towards, that honesty and that truth.
What's going on, guys? It's Jazzy, and today I'm here with the one and only Mr. Steve Stoute. Mr. Stoute, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic today. I can't believe you're taller than you look on camera. I'm nervous.
Don't worry, it's okay to be nervous. I'm nervous and excited at the same time, so I definitely get the feelings.
Cool.
So you played a major role in launching so many legendary musicians' careers, such as Will Smith, Mariah Carey, and even Nas. So what are the biggest lessons you have been able to teach artists, and what things did you learn from them in the process?
Well, the thing I learned from great artists in the process, in my process of working with them, is being honest about your art, being vulnerable. When artists write songs, it comes from a very vulnerable place. At least the good ones do. They know how to take a feeling that other people would be insecure to talk about, and they know how to write it and say it and express themselves. And that's what we all gravitate towards, that honesty and that truth. So I learned that from them. I would say what they may have learned from me is a lot of artists have people around them consistently who just tell them what they want to hear. They just agree with them all the time. In fact, that's part of job security for them, is to just have people around them who say yes all the time. And I've always been one to be honest about, maybe you shouldn't do it that way, you should do it that way. And that honesty with the intent of just making things better and respecting their craft has been something that I believe they may have learned from me, the value of that.
It's very important when you have that kind of relationships, at least that work kind of relationship, for everyone to teach each other different things, whether it's strategy, being able to create goals and adjustments. When it comes to anything like that, that's where, learning and also teaching comes in. And as you said, being honest about many things, especially with artists.
That's right.
Good artists, they express their feelings in their music, but they put it in a way where you really have to dig deep in order to really understand it.
Yeah. You're wise beyond your years.
Thank you.
That's correct.
Thank you. And I feel like those relationships are very important, especially in that job space.
Yeah.
And I definitely could relate to that.
Well, you have a great relationship. You and your dad, right? It's honest, right? You got to, your performance and how well you've done and why people like doing interviews with you, because you're really good at it. And you've gotten good at it. And I'm sure your father's behind the camera telling you and coaching you. And, that honesty is what's made you much better at what you do. It's constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism, that was the word that I was looking for. Constructive criticism is a very important word, because when you get constructive criticism, it's important not to take it to heart.
That's right. That is correct.
If you actually listen to it,
statement.
exactly, if you actually listen to it and understand, okay, maybe I didn't do so well on this. Okay, well, maybe I will apply more time to it.
That's right.
And that is something that you should think about every single time someone gives you constructive criticism, especially those who are on your team, who are on your side and in your corner.
That's right. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, your marketing firm is a leader in brand development with many of today's biggest companies.
That's right.
So with content creation playing a major role in branding these days, what advice can you offer content creators and capitalizing on more opportunities?
I said it earlier today about being brand ready. Being brand ready, returning all the phone calls, the DMs, whatever it may be, how people get in contact with you, knowing your audience, being consistent with your audience. That's very important, because you gotta know exactly who the customer is that you're serving, and be able to build that customer over time. And that requires consistency in doing that. And I would also say, you want to be authentic and you want to be honest and that kind of stuff, but you don't want to cross the line of vulgarity or pushing it too far. Right. Because brands want to be in business with other brands in which, they could, it's safe. It's not safe because it's dishonest. It's safe because it's honest without crossing the line. So you got to be able to figure out how to, build your business without crossing the line, because brands have safety measures, and they can't work with companies or partners that have, you know, that cross those safety measures. So I would say those are three things that I think are very important.
And I myself have actually had experience working with different big companies when it came to campaigns. And a few years ago, I didn't even know I could make money in that space when it comes to content creation and what I did.
But now you're making money in that space.
Exactly. I'm making money in that
And you're
space.
saving it.
I'm definitely saving it. I'm saving it for the
You don't
future.
have access to it yet.
I'm not 18 yet, so
That's right.
I do not have access to it yet, but
But you know it's there.
I'm saving it.
You know it's there.
I know it's there.
Yeah, that's good.
People are looking more so for content creators because they want to be relevant. They don't want it to be controversial, and they're just looking for an honest brand.
Well, you're honest.
Yeah, spreading positivity too.
You're very honest. Kids are generally honest. They ask honest questions and they give you honest feedback. And when I watch your interviews with people, your questions and the way you respond to some of the answers come from a very honest place.
Thank you for that. Where do you see the future of the music industry in the next 20 years for artists capitalizing even more outside of streaming revenue and shows?
I think artists are going to be able to, in the next 20 years, that the fans of their music, they will have a direct relationship with those fans so that they could sell them merchandise or sell them footwear or vinyl or whatever the other, whatever other item that they have that's related to their brand. Right now, artists, even if you stream their music a lot, if you could listen to your favorite artist, let's say you like Dua Lipa, let's just pick that artist, and you listen to her song 100,000 times over the last 2 years, her songs. She doesn't know who you are because there's no direct connection between her and being able to contact you. But I believe in the next 20 years, way before then, that she'll be able to go, wow, you listen to my song a lot. Therefore, you may actually want to buy a ticket to my show. Therefore, you may want to buy a piece of merchandise that says, I'm a Dua Lipa fan that represents that. And I'd like to be in business with you. I'd like to sell you that ticket directly. I'd like to sell you that T-shirt directly. And I think right now there's a lot of middlemen between that make sure that can't happen. And I believe over time, those middlemen will be eradicated. They will be gone. So therefore, that can happen. You're going to be one of the great journalists in the world in 20 years. I mean,
Thank you.
That's for sure.
Oh yeah, we gotta speak into existence. Let's speak into
You're
existence.
going to be one of the greatest journalists 20 years from now. Forget it. I mean, we all know that. Yeah.
Thank you for that. But yes, you have a very interesting take on that, and I completely agree with your statement there. Well, you founded United Masters as a distribution option for independent artists to grow and also own their masters.
That's right.
So where did this business venture begin, and why is this so important to you?
I started, the idea came to me in about 2016, 2017, early 17. And I felt like it was important to me because I've watched too many artists build their careers making other people rich. And they were making them rich because they would create this valuable asset, the master, and then give it to the record company for an advance, for some money, very early in their career. So they didn't own it anymore. And the record company would sell it and, be able to make all the money off of it. And I felt like those days should come to an end. That technology was coming into place where a lot of the services that the record company did, which artists thought they needed, they didn't need anymore. So if they don't need it anymore, why don't they own the masters themselves? So I wanted to build something that could help them own their own masters without giving it away, something they could pass to their kids. Or if they, whatever they decide on doing, they can make that decision because they owned it and they didn't have to give it away.
Right, and I actually saw your interview on The Breakfast Club when you were speaking about that topic specifically, and that's where the question came in. But I want to say that I loved your example of when you said the Joe Budden example where you're saying, hey, he didn't even know that his song was in a video game. And the only reason why he didn't know that his song was on a video game was because he didn't know it. And the record label, they sell the master. They sell everything and they make the profit off of it.
That's right.
You don't make any of the profit. You're not going to know where anything ends up.
You have nothing to give your kids. You have nothing to pass on your legacy. It's very important. And, I think that you are going to be much better than I am at being able to tell people that because it's your generation of artists. It's somebody right now who's either writing a song or looking in the mirror, practicing their flow, or singing a cappella who's going to become the next great artist. And they're 13, 14 years old. And if they know for a fact that they should own that, because it's very, very important, then they won't give it away to a record company. They'll keep it. And whether it's United Masters or another company that does distribution, they will choose that route versus the route of taking some upfront money for long-term loss.
I might as well just tell them now. To all the upcoming artists out there, it's very important. Take it from me, Mr. Stoute right here. Owning your masters is very important because other record labels, they will sell it and you will not know where your song may end up. You don't know where it is, and you're not going to get any profit off of it. The record label is. Just letting you guys know that. And also, when it comes to the music game, it's 10% music and 90% business.
You got it. Perfect.
Thank you. Well, can you please share some words of motivation to everyone watching my show?
You want me to give them words of wisdom?
Sure.
We just gave them a bunch of words of wisdom. Just keep watching her show because she knows what she's talking about.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Well, guys, I'm here, Mr. Steve Stoute, and we're having a great time. And until next time, jazzing out.